Okay. All right. Well, welcome everybody to the Publishing Spectrum Live. We typically meet once a month in Google Meet, and the general idea is that like publishing is very like self-directed in our community, but publishing has some best practices, and that's what I'm trying to bring to you all. Is just like best practices and tools, and like when does Substack actually give us something to pay attention to? Like, there really not a lot of stuff these days, and I like to filter that through for folks. And so this month, obviously, we've been talking about promotions. Like, what does it mean to promote your work? What does it mean to think about it in a way that actually helps you access, not just a willingness to do it, but like making it easier to keep showing up, even when sometimes the data contradicts what we think we're supposed to be doing. And so today, I'm just kind of opening the hour for us to talk about a couple of tools, because there's tools that we actually suggested to Substack, and they made it. They made it. We have it, and it actually crosses over into a really foundational part of like what it means to be an author or a creator with work, which is the fact that you have to actually promote your work and get it in front of new people. So I want to start by just saying that there's a new that today I'm going to walk you through a new feature that's in beta. It's called Creator Match. I'm going to show it to you on my screen, let you take a look at it, and we'll talk about like why the things that they're using to help you find like good publishers to collaborate with, like what it's going to help you do, and then like where does it stop? And so like the usefulness stops at a certain point, and I'm going to give you prompts to help you know like what do I actually pitch to someone? How do I know my audience would actually want to talk to that? So I've done a little bit of sleuthing for y'all. I've got some prompts for you to use in your data so that when Creator Match is released to everyone, you're already going to be ready. You're going to know what's creating audience momentum. That's what I'm interested in, is like, I want the right creators who I resonate with their work, and then like what's resonating with our audiences. And then I want us to be able to make really good collaborations from there. So, so that's where we're going to start. And I'm mindful of the time, already 10 minutes in and just chatting about myself. Let's go. Let me pull up Creator Match. How does that sound?
Great.
Okay. I guess I should have it open on the screen. Let me pull it up. We're going to go into Creator Lab. Has anybody actually, while we're just chatting, has anyone done collaborations before?
Like, no. Yeah, I've done a few. I've done some. Yeah.
Ramona did. Ramona collaborated with me.
Oh, yeah.
I did. Yeah. While I'm pulling this up, I'll tell you that it only occurred to me the other day that ultimately what helped me get my sea legs on Substack back in 2023 was like getting back into a publishing rhythm with Cave of the Heart that I did with y'all. Ramona and I were friends on the Substack platform, and I just thought of like the interesting people I had met, and I was like, I have a series of questions I cannot get the answer to. I want to understand this better. And I just reached out to folks. I had a very clear publishing path, though, I would say. Like, it was very clear, sort of. I hope it's clear. Ramona can say if it was clear.
And that was fun. Yeah, it was really fun. And yeah, you're right. I suppose that is collaboration. I hadn't really thought about it that way.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's collaborating with actual writing together, and throwing off ideas to each other and then making a whole out of it. No, I've never done that.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to look at how Substack has made this easier. Can y'all see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So essentially, this is in beta right now, and they're testing it. And I want to talk about the reason I like the way they've laid this out, because in software, narrowing down too much can actually make the product worse. And so some folks will come in and be like, oh, well, we overlap too much, or we do this. Like, what you want is you want broad categories of overlap, and then you want to be able to winnow it down to your actual audience momentum. And so let's talk about just really quickly what we're seeing here on the page. So this is giving me top collaboration opportunities, and it's going to rank folks by So it's using your activity level. And most folks kind of turn their head sideways when they're like, what is my activity level? Activity level is what I tell folks is it's the easiest way for Substack to measure your activity on notes and their activity inside your publication. And so what I've started to say is this is what tells you who is platform warm. And so it's really important if you're using Substack as a way to grow your audience that you're actually like doing collaborations that are to people who would be willing to come into, let's say, a live stream on Substack. So we're thinking platform warm, platform specific, and platform friendly. And so that's what I like about this is it's showing people that we have overlap in audience who are shared subscribers. And then obviously like who I've actually already collaborated with quite a few of these people. And I know that when I was talking with Mike about this feature, he said, I think they're going to create a way for you to X them out. So if you've already collaborated, you can remove them. It'll generate like a better list of people. And so obviously we've got this list. You're going to have creators match. If it doesn't feel like a fit, don't force it. Like I would just never force it. I want you to be doing promotions in a way that feels good to you. But I want to just hear like, what's your first sort of like thoughts on this creator match? Like, what are you thinking? If you're watching the replay, like feel free to drop in here. Like, what are your first thoughts about like what next and what maybe does and doesn't match up for you?
Well, give me an example of how I would use that. How I would use that if I say I wanted to choose maybe one of those people to do what would I do? What would we be doing?
So what I would do, since we're looking at platform warm, so we're looking at people who are comfortable with Substack, I would be looking to decide, like, do I want to do a written interview, a live interview, or a casual conversation? So do you want to interview the person to learn about their expertise? Do you want to have a peer level conversation about a topic that you're interested in? Essentially, it would be a way to get your voice in front of their audience and vice versa. So basically introducing and doing that cross-pollination sort of work inside promotions. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So then I guess my next question would be, you have this list of people. Have you talked to them beforehand and have they agreed to be on your list, or are they there because you've worked with them before and you're recommending them? And how yeah, I mean, is it okay to just have them out there and kind of vulnerable to people saying, hey, you want to do this kind of a thing?
Yeah. Well, I think most publications are already doing that. Most publications are already doing some sort of like cross-promotional sort of work. So you could do this work just by searching for keywords, right, in the explore page on Substack. It's kind of taking some of that guesswork out of you, and it's telling you, do your audiences overlap? So these folks, so number one, yes, it's okay to DM them if their messages are turned on. Like you can send them a DM. They've chosen that as like a publicly.
Are they likely to? Are you going to be on their list or not necessarily?
I would imagine since we overlap,
yeah,
that would be interesting to compare notes. Once the creator match is live, I'm not sure how that crossover works. I would imagine that I will show up on their lists. Yeah.
So it's kind of like almost like a dating app or something. They're showing you people that they think that you've got, that you would vibe with, or would vibe, or your audiences would vibe together or whatever. Yeah. So I think it's great because it's just like it's doing. I mean, I've done that with a number of people, and they're just people. They've all been people who I subscribe to, and they've subscribed to me. And after a while of like reading each other's work, well, I think in all cases it was me that reached out. But actually, there was one case. Well, there was one guy who. He's not massively active on the platform, I don't think. Well, that's a little unfair. He does. I do see him kind of restacking, but he gets like he's sort of has an off-platform audience, but he's now, he's been writing for years. He's like an energy blogger, and I used to read his blog like 20 years ago on some other platform, and he writes here. But he's like my biggest crossover with subscribers, which is quite weird because it's not weird. There's some I understand where that comes from, but like the way I write, and it's very, very different. But anyway, he contacted me after seeing me I did a live, like a money thing with, Keris Fox. Yeah, I did so money is not something I write about, but I had written a big piece about all the money. So I'm a filmmaker, Ramona, and I had finally paid off like debts that I'd had for years from this film I've made. So I wrote a big piece. I decided to just be like super transparent about everything that I'd spent on the film and everything that all the income I'd got. And and so we then did a live talking, not a live, that was actually, she didn't want to do a live actually. She wanted to we pre-recorded a Zoom and then both put it out. But that guy then contacted me and said, would you interview me? So it was that came from him, and it was me asking, doing an interview with him. But all of the others have just been me contacting people and saying, hey, do you fancy doing a live or doing something together? And everyone I've done that so far has been like, they've been happy to, I think they've been happy to hear from me. So I guess it's like, this is just taking the guesswork out of it in a way, or kind of, if they're showing up on this list, I suppose you can say as well, like, oh, Substack thought that we would have some overlap or whatever. So it kind of feels like maybe it makes it easier to make that first approach. I think it seems helpful. Yeah.
The audience match, because ultimately
Your sound is garbled.
And see if that helps. It's okay. We'll pay your, but unmute yourself if you want to say something.
No, it's all garbled.
How's that? Sorry for the tech difficulty.
Now we can hear you again. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's so weird. My webcam took over.
Wow.
Okay. Well, okay, we're back, folks. So Creator Match is in beta. It just came out last week. Now that you've got like a sense of like, okay, it's gonna narrow things down for me. That is really helpful. How do I know like what to pitch or what's a good idea? And what I'm interested in, just from like a publishing, like for my clients, I'm going to be telling them, I want to know what has been creating momentum inside your publication for the last 90 days, so that you can have a conversation that hopefully it happens in the next 30 days and builds on that momentum. So we're kind of working with a couple of concepts here. One is that, if audience attention is turned a certain way, you might have a narrow window to capture it. And so you want to capture it within about a 30-day sort of range. I also want it to be like a thing you would actually enjoy. I don't want it to just be like, when someone is just being interviewed, when the vibe is off. And so here's what I would like to suggest for folks to narrow down. I do want you to use your data. I want you to use your data for anybody watching this, because your data, we have really tremendous access to data on Substack. And there are ways to look for your audience momentum inside there. There's two ways you can do that. You use ChatGPT or Claude. So you need to use AI. Or if you're a Substack bestseller, you can use the MCP if it's connected to either one of those. And I'm going to share, and if you'd like to try this live, I think that'd be helpful to hear like how it worked for you, because shocker, ChatGPT suggested one kind of collaboration and Claude suggested a different collaboration, which is why editorial discernment is very important, my friends, because even the robots can come to different conclusions and you have to be in charge. You are the leading lady of your publication. But it's a good way to whittle it down, because if you're anything like me, like there's 1,000 directions I could go because I'm really interested in what I write about. But what I do care about is something I'm interested in, my audience is interested in. So if you would like to open up, let me know when you've got ChatGPT or Claude opened up on your screen. And then I'm going to,
Amanda,
yes, ma'am.
Amanda, can I interrupt for just a minute?
Yes.
I watched what you put on, and I'm just amazed at how good you are at that and how you know. But most of the time, I have no idea what you're talking about, and I don't think I'm alone in that. Maybe I am. I don't know, but I wouldn't have any idea how to get into Claude. I don't even know what Claude is, and I do know a little of Chat, whatever that thing is called, because I've used it a couple of times, but chances are I probably wouldn't use it. That's just me. And so I guess I want to know, how can I sidestep that and still do the kinds of things that you're talking about?
Well, I can definitely help you with that.
I don't want to hijack what you're doing right now, because I'm sure you planned it and you want it to work, but you
That's
know,
okay.
that I
So
probably don't know what you're talking about.
if you don't want to query your data, that's totally fine. If you don't want to query your data, if you don't want to look at like how it's been tracking, like what's been opening, how your audience has been moving, that's totally fine.
Oh, I do. I would love to. It just looks so overwhelming.
Well, why don't we plan on doing like a separate, like how to query your data live? Because I think it's important to know that like the steps are actually, there are a few steps, but once the data's in there, asking it questions is really fun and really helpful.
Mm.
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. Vicky, let me unmute you.
Vicky, do you know about all of this stuff?
Okay, well, let me unmute you.
Okay, so I was trying to unmute me, but I'm unmuted.
Yeah.
I was just saying, Ramona, do you use Subsite, Amanda's brilliant tool?
Do I use what?
Subsite, Amanda's AI that she's built.
No, because
it's so easy. Yeah, well, maybe it's literally just like a box, like it's like you're messaging a friend or something. It's kind of mind blowing, but Subsite is connected to your. I'm doing the sales job, but it's connected to the back end of your. You sign in, and I don't know how it does it, but it can access. Well, you have to know it. You have to upload, right? You have to upload. Amanda gives you step by step. Oh, actually, Substack gives you, because I forgot how to do it one time, so I got it to remind me what I have to. You go into the back end of your Substack, that you follow some very easy things. Tick a few boxes and click export for your subscribers, and then all your posts, and then you just upload that. Press a button on Subsite, and then you just ask it. Well, you can ask it anything, but you can kind of say like, what has my audience most responded to in the last 30 days or whatever. And I mean, it's amazing.
Oh,
it's honest. It's really easy. It's just the hardest thing is sort of like getting your head around it in a way, because it feels so, it's the same with all of these chatbots, but like the way it speaks back to you, it feels like you're speaking to a person, but it's not, it's just a computer. But Subsite is working on your own data. And I guess what I can't actually, because I just before I came on, I did another prompt that Amanda had put in her notes. So I've only got I don't have a paid Claude account. So Claude has locked me out until 9:30 p.m. So I can't do this. I can't do this now, but I can do it in I can do it in ChatGPT. I've got that open if we want to do it. But don't be scared, Ramona. Honestly, it is super easy. It's just literally a box like you're texting your friend or something, and then it just replies to you. It's just more of a sort of like mental leap, because it's kind of strange, because it's like, but it's so honestly so useful. Really.
So I have to get over my fear and just jump in there.
So there's some
steps.
It's
really worth it. Yeah. It's not
hard,
hard, is it?
Yeah. I think the thing that is honestly the thing I get questions about most is just where to find the CSV files.
Yeah.
And I just feel like we should do a live demo. I'll walk you through it, Ramona. We should just do a live demo.
Yeah.
If you're open to it, where it'll pull all the stuff that I want to see from just a publication perspective. And we'll set it up so I can pull the CSV files for you that I need. And you can just do it live. And what if we did that? And you can live, you won't have seen it before. I'll check it and make sure.
Okay, I'll try.
Okay. So for the purposes of our chat today, I think I'd still like to hear what Vicky thinks. So you're in Subsite, and I have to update it. I have to actually teach it how to work with the creator matches because this is brand new. But we can go into, do you know where to find your post level data, Vicky? If not, I'm going to share mine.
In Subsite.
In Substack. So I want your most recent.
I do.
Yeah.
So
why don't I actually just share my screen really quick? And I'll show you. So we go into stats and posts.
Yeah.
And before you download your CSV, you always want to make sure you've got everything clicked here. It unclicks it. I will be putting that on my Christmas list wish to Mike, that I would just like these to have a select all, because I want all of this data.
It's laborious, isn't it? Yeah.
It is
annoying to have to go through, but whoops. I'm doing that now. I'm ticking them all.
So we're going to tick them all.
Yeah.
It's amazing what's in here as well. Like,
yeah,
doing this makes you realize how much, I guess this is what you used to do in your audits, but I never realized like finishing posts and like the granularity of it is kind of amazing.
Yeah. And there's definitely a handful of data points that were only turned on in January. So there are some, and I'm pretty sure like one of them is like finished, like the finished rate. So you can see which posts are finished versus not. That's really good. So you would download your CSV from there. So I think that'll be
done that
good enough. So you just download it from there, and then I'm gonna stop sharing, and I'll just talk to y'all about the prompts. So Vicky, tell me when you've got yours.
Yeah, so I've got that, and then I upload that into ChatGPT. Yeah.
Yep, I'm gonna give you a prompt for it. I'll type it in, and I'll read it out loud too. Okay. Hypothetically. Okay. Hold on. So the first prompt I'm going to share, and I'm going to put it in the chat, like I said, this is my post level publication data for my Substack publication. Some posts went to segments rather than my full list. So ignore any post with a much smaller delivered count than the rest. Look at the last 90 days and tell me which subject my existing readers return to, which subject reaches people who did not know me, and which subject I publish often that does neither. So start there.
Okay, and then with the email stats CSV.
Yep.
Okay.
And tell us what it tells you.
Okay. It's inspecting.
And like I said, for anybody watching, these will be in the show notes, so you can go and do your own sort of test and tell us what you found.
Sure, it's still inspecting.
It's a big file. Like it's a really big.
It says refining. Oh, here we go. Right. It gives you so much, doesn't it? So it
okay,
says,
you can just
should I just read it out?
Just scan it for us.
I treated people who return as readers who continue opening through day 28 and reaches people who didn't know me as new signups or subscribes. So that's quite interesting. So I have been so I had last year I had a paid offering. Well, I still got paid turned on, but I can't remember, early part of this year, I just decided for a number of reasons that it was too much for me I didn't have enough paying subscribers versus like all of the effort and everything I was putting into this paid offering that hardly any people were reading. So I just decided for my own kind of mental, well-being, I'm still doing the work, but I took the paywall off and said I would just be doing it, making it free, but on a Patreon model. And I've also been I think I did 6 big essays but that were behind the paywall last year, and I'm re-releasing those slowly through the rest of this year, so that by the end of the year they'll all be released. And so my 2S, it says existing readers return to, it was those 2 posts. So I guess maybe that makes sense because they will have seen those before, but for almost all of them they couldn't read them before because they were paywalled, or they could just read the preview. So it says your established audience has particular appetite for, well, there were film pieces, historical film, cultural stories, archival. New people arrive through, or that's interesting. New people arrive through autism and neurodiversity. So that's this. So I do this film club, which was the paid offering, and now it's just, I don't even really know if I should still be calling it a film club because it's not really a club in any. Like I was doing like monthly Zooms, like a book group, but I've dropped that. Now I'm just doing the films. But this season is on autism, which is not actually anything connected with anything else I ever write about. It was just my son's autistic, and it's something like personally interesting to me, and so I've been programming all these autism films. But that is quite interesting, and I've been finding I'm getting still a stream of new people in every month, but I'm not growing. I'm like totally flat because I'm losing as many as are coming in, and so that's interesting. I wonder if part of that is when they get here they realise that I don't really write about autism in any broader way. Like I'm just looking at these films. So that's quite useful. I don't really understand that. Oh, okay. So on the film club, I'm doing one main film each month, and then I've been doing, so it's called the Film Thread was the name of the paid thing, and I've been doing a kind of bonus post called Following the Threads from X Film, and just suggesting like a bunch of other like related films, and it says that they get a perfectly respectable open rate, but don't stand out for either retention or acquisition. 0 new signups or subscribes across the 3. Their engagement's also relatively modest. So it says it's useful content for the existing list, but isn't a growth engine and doesn't appear to be a particularly strong must-open subject either.
Okay, I'm going to give you the next prompt.
Okay.
To ask it. So it says, I am interested in collaborating with other publications on Substack. Based on what you just found, suggest a topic we might naturally explore together, one that reaches readers who do not know me yet, not just a subject my current readers already return to. Then draft 2 sentences I might want to might want to put in my pitch. Well, I wrote that wrong. I'm going to fix that. I won't publish it that way.
I might want to put.
Let me rewrite that. So it's, I want you to see, first of all, part of this is I want you to see like why you should not be letting it write your pitches, because the pitches are really bad.
Okay.
But it gives you some ideas. Then draft 2 sentences I might put inside my pitch to other creators in an authentic way. Let's just say that.
Oops. Oh, it's interesting. So I pitch a collaboration around autism / neurodiversity through the lens of culture and storytelling. And I did one written collaboration with somebody, although she's on Substack, but I don't think she's really like, she actually is much more, she has her own like blog, and it didn't, I didn't feel like it got any, I felt like it was sort of crickets really, but
Sure.
I mean, it's given me a pitch. Do you want me to read the pitch? It's about, well, it's a couple of sentences.
Let's see.
It says, for the pitch, I'd make the connection feel exploratory rather than data-driven. And then this is what it says. I'd love to explore a piece together about how films and other cultural stories make neurodivergent experiences visible, especially the gap between what a story intends to show and what people who live those experiences actually recognise in it. It feels like a natural meeting point between the kind of cultural analysis I write and the questions your readers are already interested in, and I'd be curious to see what we could discover together.
Not bad. Not bad. I think
it's not too bad.
It's not too bad. Obviously, there's a decision point. Like you have to decide if that's something that you actually want to keep exploring.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, and like you said, like you're exploring it because it's actually relevant to your life right now. And I'm very interested in like live source material, not like grand pulled out far into the future sort of plans. And so like I actually trust the spark of your curiosity more than I would whatever ChatGPT kind of says. But I think this is where like I would want to explore more with you about like what you're doing with your publication, and like what are you learning about the things that actually draw you to it versus what you thought you were coming to write about to begin with. And so because collaborations they take resources, they take time, they take effort, and it can be somewhat challenging if you are in a really exploratory phase, to get people to agree if it's not a clear match. So I would think through it that way. It doesn't mean you can't collaborate, but the thing that I like about I've liked about Substack historically is that there is some sort of underlying like sense of curiosity. And so like what it's just suggested is not wrong. Like it's not wrong. Like what it just suggested is not wrong. But like what makes it interesting is like you and the other person actually discovering something together on the call than like a really rigid sort of like interview. Like we're not interviewing the queen. Like these are two people having a conversation about something that overlaps, and then how you pitch it and how you lay it up is also really important. So so like I said, so I'm going to put these posts. I'll tell you what I did. So, or what it came out. Would that be helpful if I told you what it told me? So ChatGPT gave me one, Claude gave me a different one. And this is why I am the leading lady of my publication. Because they're both actually, this is why I think the
so
next
worth
12
putting
months,
this into Claude as well to see if
I've already
Claude
done. Well, so I
different.
tested all of these before I suggested, before I brought them to you. So where was I going here? Let me pull up what Claude said versus so ChatGPT suggested it said my strongest collaboration topic is not how to publish better. That would mostly lean into the subject your existing audience already likes. It says I'd build collaborations around the thing your data suggests has discovery energy, changes in how Substack works, what those changes mean for a particular kind of publication or reader. Now, obviously, I already can hear people saying, well, it's easy for you to grow because you're writing about Substack. I'm like, well, I write about publishing. And then I like let the platform have a voice when the platform makes sense to have a voice. And I just happen to have a software adjacent background where this is very interesting for me to noodle on from an editorial perspective. But like, I read this and it says how Substack is changing the way readers discover X and what publishers should understand about it. I think that's dry as toast. I don't want to talk about discovery for an hour with somebody. I write about discovery. I want you to know how discovery works. And then I want to like stop talking about discovery. So like ChatGPT says, like in order to grow, like you should deep dive into it. And I'm like, Substack's going to write about that already. Like they have their help documents for a reason. I step in when I think it affects how publishers work with their material and work with their audiences. So I did not particularly enjoy what ChatGPT suggested. And again, notice how that's not technically wrong. Like I could actually probably grow if I followed that advice. I could probably do it, but it would hurt. Y'all, it would hurt. And I don't hurt my creativity anymore because I don't actually want to break down discovery. I want discovery to be as clear as it needs to be so you can get back to the good stuff. Claude came up with something. It actually pulled a much different sort of thread. And again, like same data, same prompts. And it actually suggested that that I consider talking about the experience of writing to publishing, which I've done a little bit. I've talked a little bit about that experience in a couple of places, and it clustered the posts together for me to see like where I was overlapping inside that's more like human. I feel like it gave me like the human experience of the work I've been sort of naturally just kind of treasure hunting through somewhat, I mean, mostly intuitively, but like, I mean, July, my whole plan was wiped out because of news events. And I just kind of went with it and it was fun, right? Like just fun. And I saw that and I was like, oh, I talk about that in my sleep. Like I'll talk about writing to publishing and like what it feels like. Because I've been inside those spaces. I've been with writers and like what it feels like to pull a manuscript out of you, what it takes to get it. I've built those production systems, and the system it takes to build around publishing in public is very, very different. And it's so unique. And Substack creates a really specific use case for writers, which is that you now have an audience that can find you. And what do you do with that audience? Whereas so anyways, I'm at my point right now because I just want to keep talking about it right now on the call, and I'm going to try and stay focused. So I saw that and I just knew right away. I was like, yes, that's what I want to talk about, because there's so much richness to explore and to hear from people. I've already reached out to a handful of folks, and I just said like kind of to your point, and I'll read to your point, like putting it in context of like why I'm reaching out. That may have been more for me than for them. So I wasn't feeling like I was spamming folks. And honestly, like spamming is probably harder to, oh no, come back. I need my direct ones. I said something to the effect of, hey, the new Creator Match tool on Substack suggested we might be a good fit for a collaboration. And for this lady, I already knew her. I like her writing. And I was like, and I said, I mean, well, obviously we should. And I told her, I've done a little bit of data sleuthing to see where my audience is paying attention these days. And I think we could have a fun conversation, a live stream, something easy about the differences we've experienced between writing and publishing in public. And for her, I know that she travels in her van. And I don't want to, I'm having a private conversation. I'm trying not to like identify her. And I was like, I would especially love hearing from you about nomadic publishing approaches. Like, how does she build and keep her publication going when she is nomadic? So I reached out to a handful of other folks. And so I tweaked it just enough because I actually was familiar with all of them already. So I felt like it was still authentic for me to be reaching out. And I just tried to think through like, what I know about them that makes me curious about how they publish, and we'll see where they go from there. But I think my goal in those messages was to make it personalized, short, and give them the context. So live stream is super easy to set up on Substack. It's really easy because of how they kind of process the videos. And so that's what I did. And now we'll see where it goes. But like, I mean, I could probably talk about that for the next 3 years. So we'll see if Creator Match can keep up with me. But yeah, I thought that was curious. Like one felt, well, I don't know. One felt more sterile, one felt more human, and more like what I would want to do. And then I kind of took it from there. So I don't know.
Yeah, that it's a really interesting concept because you're not wasting time having to look for people. You actually found them, know them, and you have them right there, and that's a step that you can eliminate. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. So I think that is actually, I think we've got some noise on the line. Hold on. I think a second. Vicky, I just muted you for a minute. I think one of the reasons I wanted to talk about promotions and give promotions like attention for the month is because I have a direct relationship with feeling tension around wanting to do that work. And I think a lot of what I had to do was create a system where I reserved energy for that work. And I kind of accepted that like whatever happened in the 1800s that allowed Louisa May Alcott to just like write her books and get published and not have to be on Twitter, that world is not available to me. And even though the conditions under which she writes, I might find very helpful and supportive, the conditions under which she was found and published are not, they're not there for me. And so whenever someone comes to me and and we work together, whether that's like a thought partnership or in an advisory sort of relationship, the first thing I look at is like, how much are you publishing versus nudging? And I've lost count of the times where I say like, publish less, nudge more, like give that piece more time in the ecosystem and in your life too. Like, are you telling people in your life and your network that like you do this work? And a lot of times folks will go, oh, but I don't want to, or I'm afraid to, or I'm not ready to. And all of those are actually valid responses, because I don't want you wasting your energy on a thing you're not ready to do, if that makes sense. So I don't want to zero in on you, Ramona, but I appreciate your comment this morning about like, why am I not growing? Like what's going on? And to me, that is the signal that like, you're ready to find something that like you're ready to do that work. Some folks don't want to, and I don't ever want to take someone away from the writing. Like that's not my calling.
Yeah. I keep trying to analyze it because it's not making any sense to me, because I feel like I'm putting stuff out there that's worthwhile, and I want it to be read. Obviously, I didn't work on it to just kind of, watch it flounder. And yet, I think as I go on with Substack longer and longer, and I've been here for quite a while, that I don't really understand it. It's just, I don't know if it's changing quicker than I can catch up with, or if I'm just so out of it that I'm not seeing what's right in front of me and what everybody else is seeing, who may very well be getting farther along than I am. And I'm not quite as panicky as I was yesterday. I think I worked my way through that, but it's still there. It's still up here, and I'm saying I need to get I need to get better at this, which doesn't mean that I need to get better at writing. It means that I need to get better at promoting. And I'm wondering, Amanda and Vicki, if I spend a lot of time on notes, way more time than I need to. And I'm wondering if that's not a real liability. And a lot of the things that I do on notes have nothing to do with my own work. It has to do with everything else that's going on. And I tend to put memes up that will get 6,000 likes, where my own stories will get handfuls on notes, and it makes no real sense, because it means somebody has seen it. 6,000 people have seen it in order to like it, which means they've seen something that I've put out there, and yet they're not seeing my own work that way.
Yeah. So that'd be interesting to analyze and just do like a notes audit for you, Ramona, because the reality is that like things that go viral don't always grow your publication. Like it can be a one-time sort of blip. And if they hover, so like I'm thinking about the user experience. Let's say, I know you probably haven't done this. You post something about a cat, they hover over you. If they don't see more cat related material, they aren't likely to click. So it could just be a fun moment. They wanted to like it and they moved on with their lives, right?
Yeah.
So like, I think that's why when there needs to be some intentionality, if you want notes to actually be fruitful. My biggest check is like, what is your note to homepage bridge? Like if they click that note, and I'm not saying you can't publish funny stuff, just know that like if the bridge between your note and your homepage is 10 miles long and it doesn't make sense to them, they're not going to subscribe and keep reading and going down. Like I'm tempted to go a little the sequential modeling that Substack is built around is meant to help someone find that moment of capture and curiosity and then follow their curiosity. And if it stops, that tells them something about what that reader is actually looking for. And I'll be talking about that, I don't know, later this week, just about a little bit more about how that discovery process works, because it's actually in favor of someone following their creators, following their creative impulse. But then also considering that the user's curiosity is what ultimately drives whether or not you're put in front of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Well,
I
that's
think
interesting. Yeah. Because
I-
they're,
a really simple way to test it would be to look at your homepage, like what's on your homepage right now, Ramona, and then just take the next week and talk about what's on your homepage. That sounds really simple, but like go to your homepage and just see like, okay, I remember writing that. I'm going to restack it and I'm going to write a note about why I liked writing it, or what stood out to me when I wrote it and why it deserves a spot on my homepage. Like there's just off the top of my head, Ramona, but like see if talking about it, and not necessarily, so you could link to it, you could not link to it, or you could quote from it. So those are 3 ways to write a note that then drives somebody into your homepage. So they're kind of finding like with like. So they discover you on notes and they're coming in there, and they have choice, right? They all have, everybody has choice there. But that's sort of how I've organized now that I'm building my business and doing this. I have to be more organized. I have to be a little more like intentional about like that process of notes to homepage. Yeah, a little more intentional. So I think like there's also the element that like Substack has grown so much that like the reader demographics, I think, are really different. And people are more primed to use a tool like Notes, because that's kind of how social media works everywhere else. And there is a very clear path in which like people come into your publication and they have to learn what it means to actually be in a publication, that it's not just Twitter. So, but that's for another day, another month, another.
Yeah. I do some of that, and I have regulars on both my publications and on Notes, and so they're there, but they're usually people who don't have a huge following. So even if they restack something, it doesn't really go anywhere. And my emphasis right now at Constant Commenter is on politics, and I'm pretty frantic about it. So I want, so I of course want everything I write to get out there. I want people to read it, and I want them to respond. I want to know what they think, and I want to know how they feel, and I want to know if they feel differently from me, or if I don't always want them to agree, but I want some feedback, and I just feel like I don't get enough of it.
This is where I really want to see your data, Ramona, because I would like Substack to be able to do a headline analysis. I'd like to see what the nature of the headlines that people open, and just get a sense of like whether I think we could get a sense of like what your audience is activated by. Like, what are they activated by? And then you take that and you work from an editorial perspective of like, does it fit the piece? First of all, if it doesn't fit the piece, I don't want you writing an activation sort of focused headline. But it could bring up an interesting month or two of experiments where you hone your headlines around whatever it is, whatever that pattern is. Because you've published enough that there's so much it can tell you. I know that already. I already know that.
It would be interesting, and I would like to do that. We could do that, off of here, at some point, and that would be wonderful. Because I need to learn how to analyze those things, because I'm just in the dark right now.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Well, let me look at my show notes, make sure I covered everything. This has been a lot of fun. I hope it's been helpful. I hope anybody who's watching the replay will chime in on the comments if you have questions about how to get ready for it. It's like I said, this thing is in beta. I don't know when it's going to be released, but when it is, I'm probably thinking through like how to what's your next steps? Like, once it's released, how do you do that? How do you make sure you're not disrupting your publishing queue? that it's actually in line with your queue and people have a natural reason to want to show up. But yeah, this was a good morning. I'm really glad to talk about this more. And I've had a little birdie telling me in the back of my head, like, we need to just do like a live demo of Subsite. And you're a wonderful candidate, Ramona. I'd love to see. You've got plenty. So, well, I will, like I said, I'll be reposting the replay. The prompts will be in there. And I'll also have prompts for anybody who is a Substack bestseller that has their MCP turned on, to pull their data through there, just to get a little bit of a clearer look at what, because MCP is going to work with it a little bit differently than the CSV file. So anyways.
Great. Yeah. Okay. Go on.
Oh, she went. Oh, she's back.
There she is.
It just completely
Yeah.
took me, like, I felt like Glinda. Like I just got like swirled around.
Yeah.
I'm so glad it let me back. Okay. Well, anyways, thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging on for the ride of apparently being in a Google Meet with me. And we'll talk soon, y'all.
Thank you. Thanks. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.